Hey, what's happening, guys? Dave Brown here with JamPlay.com, and it is week 5 of playing the changes. Week 1, we took on the 1 chord. Week 2, we took on the 4 chord. Week 3, we took on the 5 chord. Last week, we put 4 and 5 together. Guess what we're doing today? Putting all 3 of them together, okay? Why? Because there are too many songs to think of that use 1-4-5. Even if the song has more than just 1-4-5, it still has 1-4-5 in it, right? Like a 1-5-6-4, which we will totally get to. So it would behoove you to line these up in all 5 positions so that you can then switch them to other keys and eventually just totally own this. For songs, every blues ever, a whole bunch of rock songs, all over the place, as well as songs that haven't even been written yet. You are doing all the prep work to know how to play those songs. If you get called into a jam session, this is how you can just think on your feet if you know all these shapes and how they line up. So we'll do all the licks today, and then hopefully we'll have time to kind of line up some of the pentatonics and just see how those feel. The lick is the same in every spot, as you guys know. If you don't know, well, that means you're just joining us for the first time probably. So best thing for you to do today would just probably play the chords, which is also worth your time. That and alone is worth your time, just so you can see those shapes and how they line up and you can grab them. Because again, the chord is 3 out of the 5 notes of the pentatonic scale. So it's basically the outline of the pentatonic scale that you're playing, right? The progression is going to go 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, so it's going to be 4 bars of each, which is a lot of time, but it's going to give you some time to kind of explore playing over these changes later, specifically with if you just want to have free time. But most songs aren't ordered like this. Again, the blues is a very specific form, but again, it's just showing you how these all line up and hopefully get them under your fingers so that if you only want to do 1 bar each, or if you want to do 2 bars on the 1 chord and 4 bars, whatever, you can do that. I believe in you. So let's get started today. Our 1 chord in the key of D is going to be D. We're going to start with our C shape. If we're trying to get lazy and find our 4 chord, that's going to be on the 6th string with our middle finger. Middle finger on the 6th string means what? E shape. Then, if we're trying to find our 5 chord, which is A, that's also going to be on the 6th string with our pinky if we're going to be stuck between frets 2 to 5. Okay, so that's going to be exercise number 1. Let's put it all together, shall we? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna give it a little bump. On a 5 chord. Staying on the 1 chord. Going to the 4 chord. Saying that one. Four, E shape. Staying on one. Four. One. You got it. Going to five. Side space out, we get to do it one more time. Staying on one chord. Four. Going five. Oh, we actually made it to the end of the track. If you do it 5 times, it's the end of the track. So maybe we'll just keep doing that for every single one of these. So yeah, those are how they line up. It's worth just going through and just really quick, see how rapidly you can kind of play through the chord, just the shapes. Sure. Especially if you could just top 3, 4 strings. That one goes back to the 4 in between. You can get creative with it. You can play a whole bunch of songs. That's the first one. What comes after the C shape? C, A, G, E, D, C, A. Next one's A. Right? We're going to have another one off the A. Remember, we got one going to the 3rd string. If we're trying to be lazy and find our 4 chord, the G is going to be on the 4th string under our fingers. There's another one back here, which means it's going to be the D shape. D shape is going to have a couple. We're going to start from again, it's I'm sure you're noticing, but well, we're sticking in one key, so it's relatively easy in the sense that you can kind of just memorize these if you need to. But it's really good to be able to kind of just randomly place these. So the 2 exercises, just to reiterate, 1 is to take a position like the D shape and go, okay, where would I place it? If I wanted to play it in this key, where would I place it if I wanted to play in this key? Just a reminder, off the 6th string, if you find a note and you place your pinky on it, it's the G shape below. And then if you place your pinky with your middle finger, or your 1st finger, depending on how you think about it, it's the E shape above. Likewise for the C shape on the 5th string versus the A shape on the 5th string as well. So either you're thinking pinky or middle finger or 1st finger if you're just grabbing that chord. And then the D is the only one that's based off the 4th string. So that's a little weird. It's not a little weird, but it's kind of weird. But you're gonna kind of, I tend to almost always see that E shape relative to it. It's like a superposition. I just coined that, superposition. It's a stupid coin. I wouldn't mint that coin. Anyway, so our 4 chord's gonna be with the G shape. And then if we want to go to our 5 chord, where's that A? It's right here. But now it's our first finger that's on it. Compromise, that's what you're going to do for the E shape instead of, you know, you can think of it your middle finger too. So again, we have our A shape, go into our D shape, go into our E shape, back to our A shape. Again, this is worth reminding you guys of, but how these are playing out across the neck is exactly how they play out in open position. So for instance, we're starting with our A chord. So if we took an A chord in open position, our 4 chord would be D, and our 5 chord would be E. So if you know your 1, 4, 5s in open position, that's literally exactly how they're gonna play out across the neck. Essentially, we're just capoing up the neck, right? And, you know, so I'm going to put a chart in there. I think I put it in a couple weeks by accident. It was a little premature. But now that we're starting to line up multiple shapes, it'll be good to have like a little chart just in case you need to give a little reminder of like what shapes are lining up with what. That'll also come in handy when you're thinking about these minor chords that we're going to take on next week. Finally getting rid of this lick, except we're going to have to line it up with minor chords, so we'll still use it. Anyway, we got our second position. Let's do it to it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Sing on that 1 chord. What was that? Go on the 4 chord. Clearly some positions need more work than others. On that 1 chord. One more time. Four chord. Yeah, so obviously I feel that the D shape is not as cool as the other shapes. I think I made that point clear. You know, again, I would never. I mean, it's kind of sometimes, rarely. In a jam, in the heat of a jam, I almost never grab this chord. If there's something very specific about that voicing that I just need, I'll do it, but more often than not, I'm thinking the E shape below or the C shape above. The D shape is almost like a sort of a middle ground between those two better shapes, we'll say. Better, relatively better. Sorry, I just thought of an Office quote, but we'll spare you on the Office quote. You're here for the music, not the Office, but the Office is worth watching if you like it. So that's about it for that position right there. Let's move on to the next position. Again, we just played the A shape. After the A, C, A, G comes the G shape, right? So we got the G shape for our one chord. Okay, so if we wanted to line that up with our 4 chord and our 5 chord, let's figure it out. We got our G shape on the 6th string. There's no G on the 6th string now. Oh man. Let me just tune for the sake of sanity, just in case. Yeah, see, it's all over the place. So, yeah, so I know that was confusing just then. I said G shape, C shape, D shape, whatever. So let me just do that again, shall we? So we have the G shape for our one chord, right? We're looking for that was a G shape. Now we're looking for a G chord. There's a difference. Our closest G is on the 5th string with our pinky. Pinky means C shape. And then for our 5 chord, we're looking for an A, which is going to be on the 4th string. We're going to go back to that D shape. Get it out of the way again. Again, this is exactly how it is in open position. G, C, and D. G, C, D. Just a different key. Let's line it all up, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... D shape. gosh. Let's give that one a fair shot again, guys. I'm spacing out. I'm sorry. Amateur hour. On the one chord. C shape. Staying on that one chord. Staying on that one last time. 4 chord. Chord. No, actually, there's one more. I'm sorry. Great, wonderful, awesome. Next one is going to be the E shape. If we're playing the E shape in no position with 1 and 4 chords, it's going to be the A. So again, we got our D on the 6th string. We want our closest G. It's going to be on the 5th string, and it's with our first finger. So the first or second finger is always the A shape. Can't win. And then the 5 chord. If we're looking for an A, There it is right there. So it's going to be your pinky C shape. So again, we got our E shape, followed by the A shape, followed by the C shape. Which is how it is in open position too, if you think about it. You go to your 5 chords like a B7. That B7 is actually like a C7 shape. Alright. So, let's put it all together. 1, 2, 3, 4. My bad. Five chord. Oi, sorry folks. One chord again. So, guess what, guys? That completes that exercise. We started with the C shape, then we had the A shape. What? C shape. Followed by the A shape, followed by the G shape, followed by the E shape. Guess what? That's 4 out of 5. That means we only have one more left. We got the D shape for the D. getting a little tight up there. If we want to play a D chord in an open position or 4 chords, a G chord, which is the... So now they're actually all doing their own shapes. So you got the D shape, you go into the G shape for the G chord, and then you have the A shape for the A chord. As far as the 5 chord goes. So again, D, G, A, D, as in the actual chords we're trying to play, finally. Okay, let's do it all again. It's tough. I mean, it's 4 minutes and 19 seconds. It's tough to keep, focus for that long. You know what I'm saying? Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I already forgot where we're starting. Let's try that again. We're starting with the D shape. Is it time to go yet? I think it's time to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Liberty there. Sorry guys, staying on the 1 chord. Going to the 4 chord. On the 1 chord this time. Yeah. Scrunch, 4 chord. 5 chord, I mean. You know what I mean. Back to the 1. Same. So that concludes all the exercises. So we should talk about what we can do to line up things and stuff. So things and stuff, let's talk about those pentatonic scales. So we got those in the open position, or the lowest position, right? That C-shaped pentatonic is going to line up with that E-shaped pentatonic as well as the G-shaped pentatonic, for the A chord. So let's take a look at the top 3 strings like we always do, just because it's going to make your life easier. We're going to go to the 2nd fret on the 3rd string and the 4th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then we got the 2nd fret and the 5th fret on the 1st string. Okay, sorry, there's something going on in the background. I was hoping it wasn't going to go off, which it didn't, so we're going to keep going. So that's what we're playing for our first chord, and when it goes to the 4 chord, again, there's only 1 note difference, so it's exactly how you practiced last time. Right, that's the only note that's changing. F sharp goes to a G when he goes to the G chord. And then we remember from last week, it's the 3rd frets are gonna go down. So this is where it starts to get a little hairy. Even though you know all these pentatonic scales, it's still hard to kind of see them all at once, ready to go at any given moment, especially in 5 different other positions, right? Well, 5 positions total. So it's just something to think about. So hopefully you're seeing those notes that you slide into. I'm always having you slide into the major thirds for these. So let's just try and see if we can I'm going to just get creative with it and see how it goes. And then we'll talk about, I always like the continuous scale exercise. That's a really good one too. We'll talk about that in a second. There's so many things you can do, but the general thing that I need you to do is those licks and accompanying the chords in each position, so these kind of stick out. Cool. So extra credit territory. 2, 3, 4. Staying on the 1 chord, so yeah. Honestly, that's just worth doing. Just playing through the scale, nothing even creative, Let's just do that for this one right here, right? So just playing through the scale, ascending. Sorry, just going. It's hard not to improvise a little. G shape. I know I said I was going to do that. I'm just easily bored, apparently. Again, when you're restricted like this, it'll kind of feel hokey, and then especially if you're not. You got to use some of those bluer notes, more bluer. Bends. Yeah, so you get the idea. You know, it's also kind of, so I'm going to go through the other positions too really quick. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see how much time we got. But yeah, you know, you can also, well, let's just keep going through those other positions. You can also climb through the positions too, so I might talk about that in a second. Next position, if we're dealing with this, we got our D chord, it's going to be the A shape, right? So you got 4, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. The one note, the F sharp, which was on the first string before and went up a half step to the G. It's not going to be that for the D, hence the crown of that triangle kind of a thing. And then we're back to the E shape. So let's hear what that sounds like over the track. Nope, not that track. 2, 3. Going to the E shape. Oh yeah, it's staying on the one chord. I know what I'm doing sometimes. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm just kind of messing around, just finding those notes. Maybe it's just... just playing through the pentatonics like that on 3 strings, really seeing these shapes and understanding which notes are kind of changing. Let's move on to the next position. I forgot I mentioned continuous scale exercises. So I'll go over that in a second, but let's just see how the top 3 strings line up for starting on the G shape. So you got your classic pentatonic position. There's that F sharp again. It's going to go up to the next note just like it literally just did. In that other position, we're just got other fingers on those same notes now. And then finally, that D shape, that's going to be the weird one. So let's see how those line up. Have a little fun with it. I'm taking some liberties, clearly. That's a lick I want to practice. What is it? Anyway, I'll figure it out later on my own time. G. Okay, you get the idea. I'm just going to mess around right now. Let's talk about that continuous scale exercise. For this, we're going to incorporate... We'll keep it simple, actually. We're just going to keep it on the top 3 strings. So what we're going to do is we're just going to ascend and descend. We're never going to break that flow. Our highest note is D. Or what? Our lowest note is D, and our highest note is D. Obviously, when we get to the 5 chord, it's going to be C sharp and not D's, but for now it's D's. And the idea is that you're just continuing all the way up the down scale, but when the chord changes, you have to change the note. So sometimes, again, especially because like 1 to 4 or the 5 back to the 1, there's only a 1 note difference. You might just be playing the same scale note, like the note that you would land on anyway is going to be common to both of those scales. But sometimes it's the one random note. So let's see how this plays out. Again, you can do 4 strings, 5 strings, 6 strings. The more strings, the merrier, except it gets a little more confusing. It's obviously a little more difficult. Let's just see how it goes, though. So again, I'll just play quarter notes, nice and simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. No blue notes, just pentatonic. Now we're going to middle finger there. Not really creative at all, but what it's doing is most players tend to jump back to their comfort zone, like the beginning of a position, the lowest note. So this forces you to kind of just change course no matter where you are on the neck. different every time if you keep it going. Now that's easier. That was a nice resolution. Also nice resolution. Let's do it one more time. Nice resolution. Sort of. You have to land on the note though in order. So you get the idea. It just kind of keeps you flowing, and then it's really tempting, especially if it's a one note difference, to hit that one note difference. But this just kind of forces you to be like, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just keeping on track. I see that it's changed. I know that it's changed, but I'm not quite there yet. So cool. That was a slight deviation. Another exercise that you can do. Let's continue to line them up. Might as well finish them off. Top 3 strings for the next one is going to be the E shape, going to the G shape. So that F sharp that was here, is now here. That's the beauty of a guitar, redundancy. Okay, so yeah, you got the E shape, going to the G shape, going to the C shape. And it's going to be really tempting to resolve that note. So if you know where those notes are, it's okay to kind of slightly deviate. Clearly I have been. Let's try it. 2, 3. I'm just improv. The idea, if we were to line up the top 3 strings for the last position, you could do this. You could still do this. So for that would be the D shape, going to the G shape, going to the A shape, back to the D shape. Let's try it. Again, obviously, this might be a lot for you right now in the moment. I'm just kind of showing what it is. For most of you, if you're doing this, you're probably, I would just recommend focusing on one position for an entire day, almost. if not an entire day, maybe even an entire week. I know it's going to set you behind as far as this course goes, but there's only 5 positions. So the better you get this, I mean, if you take a week per position, you know, you're a month away from owning it. So it's not that bad, you know. Here we go. By a month, I mean 5 weeks. Okay, you get the idea. So that's, you know, that's how you can practice these in each of the positions. Continuous scale exercise, playing through it just with changes. Even working your way through combining positions. So like for instance, if you were jamming over this, what if you did two adjacent positions and you just let yourself go? So here's a C, A, do multiple positions. You can start flowing, and especially to just be able to land on whatever chord you need under your fingers at any time, and then when you're on a chord and you got an extended amount of time to just be able to flow everywhere you need. That's the goal. Okay, that's what we're shooting for. So again, it's a little tedious playing the same lick over and 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 over again, but hopefully it's really starting to click into place, and you're starting to see this stuff all over the neck. I'm trying to think if I got anything else to add to that, but that seems like a good place to kind of pump the brakes and see if we have any questions. Let's check it out. Guess what, guys? here for your questions. That's what I'm here for. That's what I was born to do. Answer your questions. Imagine, Scott. Are there better or more useful of the 5 cage shapes for the 1 chord to concentrate on for first learning the differences between the notes for the 1, 4, and 5? Yes. Yeah, so basically, sorry, I'll keep reading your question. My bad. In other words, what 1 chord shapes positions are the best for improvising? And should I give them the most attention first, trying to master all 5 positions at once? Which, yeah. So, excellent question. That should have been upon me to kind of divulge, we'll say, that information. The 3 most popular shapes in this order. The E shape, second most popular would be the A shape. Think about the normal bar chords, what you would normally do. C shape would be the third one. So for instance, I would say, starting with the E shape, because that's going to line up with the A shape for the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. So a position that starts with the E shape as the 1 chord is probably the most go-to. Plus, it's easiest to line up that minor pentatonic that fits over it, if you'd like. Next option would be the A shape, which is going to have the E shape as the 5 chord, but it's got the D shape as the 4 chord. So D shape kind of sucks, but you got the E and the A shape together. And then, yeah, okay. So as far as the 3 most popular shapes in a row, we do the E shape, the A shape, and then the C shape. 1, 2, and 3, right? E shape with the 1 chord would be probably the easiest and bestest to start with. I will say that probably the C shape as the 1 chord would probably be the second position I would go to focus on. Because then you got the E shape for your 4 chord. And the G shape, although it's not a practical chord voicing, is the most practical pentatonic scale. So I would say that's number 2, the one that starts on A, and then what's left? You got the D shape, and wait, what? The A shape. Yeah, the G shape one. G shape one's nice too. They're all generally useful, but we'll leave it at that. So, in conclusion, E shape's number 1, C shape's number 2. I'd probably say the C shape's number 3. A shape number 4. C and A shape are interchangeable. No, G and A shape are interchangeable, I should say. Is anybody paying attention? Does that make sense? It's subjectical. That's not a word, but we'll use it for it. It's just whatever shapes you like the best, and using the most of them. Okay, squink. What's the difference between 1/4/5 and 12-bar blues? Is there a difference? There is slightly. It's just so. For instance, today we practice 1, 4, and 5, right? A blues is 1, 4, and 5, but it's a specific ordering of 1, 4, 5. For instance, the 1 chord is usually 4 bars. 1. So that's what we did today. We played the 1 chord for 4 bars. Then we went. A blues would go to the 4 chord for 2 bars. We went to the 4 chord for 4 bars, and then it goes back to the 1 chord. We went directly to the 5 chord from it, so it's very specific ordering. Again, songs that use 1, 4, 5 are millions. They might not specifically go in the order we went today. Another one that I thought of that I've been playing recently is Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats, Never Get Old. That's like 1 chord, it goes to the 5, then it goes to the 4, then it goes to the 1, and then eventually it goes to the 4 chord back to the 1 to the 5. So you mix and match them, and that's essentially. But it's just a question of memorizing what shapes come after. And it looks like that'll do it for questions today. Guys, I appreciate you hanging in there. And hopefully that was clarifying. And next week we're taking on minor. So we're breaking into the rest of the 3 chords that you would generally have to line up during a jam session. So stick around, do your homework, and we'll see you again next week.